Wands is a one-on-one spell battle game. Each battle takes place in a pretty small arena and has each player teleporting from location to location. You can walk around a little bit in the real world thanks to room scale, which allows you to dodge out of the way of certain spells. But the game is also playable from a seated position thanks to you being able to turn using the analog stick, although it is really best to play on a swivel chair when seated, due to the snap turning being locked at 45 degrees.
Oh, a magical wand game. This is the perfect time for...
No, absolutely not. We are not going to have you perform a magic trick again.
Fine. Don't give the people what they want.
Your wand can hold 4 different spells. There is 25 to choose from, and each one can be unlocked in any order, as long as you have enough points. The variety in spells here is really what makes this game so much fun to play. You get some that you can simply shoot towards your opponent, such as the fireball or missile. Others form a shield in front of you or around you, which can also reflect incoming attacks back towards the other player. There are also trap spells that can be placed down on a teleportation spot, such as poison or spikes that shoot up from the ground. Totem spells will spawn something to fight along your side, and there are also spells for tricking the enemy, such as one that shoots a spell from a skull's head from a different location spot, and another that allows you to spawn a couple of decoys of yourself around the map. There is just so many to choose from, and although a bunch of them can be thrown into a certain category, such as the traps, each spell does play quite a bit differently from one another, like the missile spell, that can be used to send one ball out, or if the casting button is held down, it will charge up and then fire 3 at the same time. There is a lot of experimentation to be had here, and when you come across another player using a spell very effectively against you that you haven't tried yet, it just encourages you to keep on playing so that you can unlock it for your own wand. You really are completely free to make your own playstyle in this game, and the more you practice with your own spell set, the better you get, and can also find some quite cool ways to get the upper hand on your opponent. One of my favourite ways to play was to set off a decoy which spawned another 2 versions of myself to confuse my opponent. These decoys don't cast spells or move though, so I stayed still in the game too. I would then spawn poison gas around the map to limit the other player's movement and then attack when they wasn't looking in my direction. This trickster-like playstyle may come across as overpowered, but that's the best bit about this game. There is always a spell that can put the fight back in your opponent's favour, in this case a homing spell, as it would travel in my direction even if I was behind a wall. This allowed the other player to tell the difference between me and the decoys. Honestly, there is so many different playstyles you could make up in this game. You could certainly center a very long video around them. A combination of spells that work well together really can give you a massive advantage, but you do have to take into consideration how much mana each one costs to cast. Your mana recharges over time and is also depleted slightly when you teleport. This forces you to constantly think about what space you should spawn to next, and whether or not it's worth doing so. It's actually a very fast paced game that not only requires quick real world movements when aiming, but also sharp thinking. Even with the lack of free movement in the game, the overall speed of the battles is pretty intense and very engaging. There is 6 maps to play on. Some allow you to sneak around your enemy, and some allow you to confine them in small places with a couple of well placed trap spells. Positioning is very important here, especially as health pickups and mana restoration points can be found. The maps also contain unique events too. Trains will pass by in one map that carry a power up that allows you to teleport for free momentarily, and in another, sections of the map will slowly open up thanks to doors unlocking. This creates a race to get inside first, thanks to the health pickups already being spawned in there, and if you're not quick enough, a massive sandstorm will get you. These extra events are great as they change up the way you approach each level a little bit. There is also a single player mode that allows you to go up against an AI opponent, but it's not really to be taken seriously as the AI here is pretty poor. It's best just to use this mode as a testing area for your combination of spells. This really is a multiplayer focused game, and the game does encourage you to keep on dueling too, thanks to some unlockables which we will take a look at next. At the end of each match, you are presented a screen that shows you the results. The better you did, the more XP you receive. Each time you level up, you receive a point to unlock a new spell with, and you also receive some dust that can be spent on cosmetics. You can buy new wands, which have pretty unique names and designs, and you can also unlock new people to play as. Unlockables are not the only reason to keep playing though, as there is a seasonal leaderboard running. The cool thing about each season is the fact that the top 10 players will receive a new wand to use. There are also events that run during a certain period of time, which reward for top players a relic dust reward. It's great to see competitive extras like these in multiplayer games, as it really does show that the developers care about having a healthy online community even after the game's initial release.
They care about the people, do they? Well, I would have to say the opposite. Where is the classic wand design that you can unlock?
That's a bit dated, don't you think? The ones here are much more stylish.
If it wasn't for early stage performers like myself, games like this may not even exist.
That's a bit rich coming from you, isn't it? Wasn't you kicked out from the Magic Circle? This game did also release on the Oculus Go, so when you first start playing, it can certainly feel like a game that has been designed around limited hardware, especially with the lack of free movement. But the more you play, the more you realise that the game is very fast paced, even with it only having teleportation. Movement wise, you may not have a massive amount of freedom, but when it comes to picking your own playstyle, you really do have so many options, and this is where the game really is at its best. The spell effects also shine and pop out too. They really do look great, as they're sent out from the tip of your wand. At first, some spells can seem a bit overpowered, but a lot of thought and effort has gone into each spell's advantages and disadvantages, so it's not only an action-packed game, but also one that requires quick tactical thinking. It's one of the best online competitive quest games I've played so far.
Oh, I love this trick. A small screen hidden inside the pages to give the impression that the photo is moving. Simple, yet so effective.
You just ruined another one! What is wrong with you?
Mr. Oculus.